cameras about the camera we made the movie with.
Yeah, we found out all about that camera, what kind of model there was.
Did you? Well, I'll tell you why I used that camera. I wanted the actors to be comfortable with breaking it. You know, there's some violent scenes in the movie, and if they even had like a 5D or 7D, they would have been really careful. But I was like, I even told them that there's one scene at the end. I go break the camera because I had two of them, and I learned that you could really. They must be made out of Nerf or something. Packing peanuts.
One of the interesting things I'd like to talk to you about is horror in particular, where FrightFest, like dark arts cinema. If there was, say, 3 or 5 films you would recommend introducing a novice to, someone who was yet to just explore horror, what would be the 3 or 5 horror films you would say?
Well, like Rosemary's Baby, and it's not really horror, but I love Planet of the Apes, and Halloween, the first one, and again, even though it's not Taxi Driver, you know, I think that's, you know, see, that's the thing. There's horror elements in movies, and all good stories are horror. They're all, I mean, every story is about death and rebirth. It's just that horror fans aren't babies, and they don't need the camera to pan away.
That's the thing, and this is what FrightFest understands, that horror is a very broad genre, and they do a fantastic job of actually kind of choosing films which are sharp.
Yeah, this is great. This is a good poo-poo platter of all kinds, you know. In genre, there's our movie's more of a suspense, and there's gore and splatter, and there's sci-fi and monsters and zombies and all this stuff, and I think I don't understand why it's like poo-pooed, you know what I mean? Like put off into its own little ghetto. But comedy's that way also, you know, and so I kind of understand that. It seems like when you do either of those things well, horror or comedy, people feel like you're not working. They feel like, oh, all you did was, and certainly you'd have to toss in The Exorcist there too while we were talking about scary movies.
They are two of the most difficult challenges to any kind of filmmaker or storyteller, to scare and to kind of make an audience love.
Well, because both things, if you do a drama and it misfires, you don't even notice it. But if you do a movie, a beat in a movie, it's supposed to be scary and it's not scary, boy, it lays there like a bad fart. Same thing with a joke, you know. If you do something that's supposed to be funny, it's not funny, it just lays there. So they probably are much harder because they're under a magnifying glass.
And therefore the filmmakers do deserve a certain amount of, when they do make a good horror, when they make a good comedy, or any kind of good comedy or horror deserves.
But I will say this, like most of the time when people make them, that's the cool thing about horror fans, is that they'll find them. Whereas, you know, other genres, I don't think so. Like the fans are really aggressive, and they want to learn and find new things, and they want to be scared in new ways. You know, or if you're going to do a certain style, they want to see what you bring to it.
And kind of, obviously, you kind of come from comedy. Would you ever kind of look to go back to comedy?
Well, all the movies I make seem to have comedy in them, but you know, comedy and horror is the same thing. It's a misdirect, you know. I mean, you know, you look over here and then something else happens. So it's really the same kind of thing. I didn't, you know, this was for me the biggest challenge, or what I found interesting and exciting, and why I made this movie, was I wanted to see if I could do suspense, you know, and if the movie works for people, hopefully it is suspenseful, and that to me was the biggest challenge, because I was always envious of filmmakers who there'll be nothing going on camera, and it could be like someone like David Lynch, or it could be Quentin Tarantino, where there's nothing going on, but you're really freaked out, you know, and that's what I tried to do in this movie, but in my own way.
And just to come back to FrightFest, what does it represent to you? Kind of how important it is?
Well, I think it's important because it celebrates the film industry's dirty little secret. You know, I think I almost feel like, in a weird way, porn's more universally accepted than horror, which is really strange.
And just for kind of to conclude, really, you seem, from the introduction you gave the other night, you just seem to kind of love the genre. What is it that kind of keeps that kind of enduring kind of spirit alive for horror with you?
You know, horror to me is closer to myth and all, and those are the things that interest me, because there's a reason why these same monsters come back over and over again in different versions. You know, so that's really fascinating to me. But you know, when a horror movie works, it's a good horror movie will stay with you, and you laugh your head off afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Like, the real good ones really are you know, it's that you know, like if you almost die and then you don't, and you laugh a lot.